Why does it seem like the tech CEOs, the billionaires, are almost engineering the destruction of humanity? It is a very curious thing what they're doing, but I'm going to try to explain that. But before we get started, my name is Sean. I have a background in tech. I used to design and build autonomous robotic devices for the military and the aerospace industry, and I've owned my own software company for the last 23 years. And I hope you guys don't mind. I'm not in studio today. I'm actually at some very old Native American ruins. This whole area, just north of Flagstaff, Arizona, was a very ancient city. There are buildings like this. The walls are relatively straight for being as old. But they said these things date back to earlier than the year 1200. That's pretty cool. I'll give you an aerial view here. Look at them walls. So I'm just going to walk around among the ruins and talk to you about AI and where all this tech is going. And by the way, that up there, it's another one. It's almost a castle up there from a long time ago. The natives did not just live in teepees and, go around and live off on the dirt and on the earth. I mean, they had buildings. Some of them had buildings. They had farms and everything. And so I'll just talk to you guys and walk around the ruins. So one of the most common questions I get, if I were to count in the last 2 months, I've gotten several hundred of the same exact question. If these companies and these tech billionaires create so much AI and so many robots that it takes away all the jobs, well, then who's going to be left to buy their products? For a lot of people, that does not make sense. But I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. Let's get something out of the way first. These guys have more money than they know what to do with. So money is not an issue. I would say that part of it is control, but it's right now in this phase, control is not even the driving factor. What it is bragging rights. These guys want to be the first to do things. They want to be the leader in the innovation. And they know that if they stop and they just take a breather and they basically say, hey, wait, what are we doing? Well, the other big companies are just going to take their place. You guys know that. This is like an AI arms race. And so they're caught in a situation where they have to try to outdo each other. Now, why is that bad for all of us? It's really bad because all the rest of the people are the casualties to this. It's really hard to know who's going to escape this, because even when some people say, hey, you need to learn to use AI, you need to learn to program AI, things like that. Well, what they don't realize is right now, some of these people that are training AI, programming AI, using AI, they're having major problems. Like, this is not something with any job security whatsoever. In fact, quite a few people are training the AI, and the AI is replacing them. Like within a month. Some of these guys and their jobs working with AI, they get let go within a year. There is absolutely no stability whatsoever on what's going on. And so, right now it is just total chaos. The days of just getting a career and working 20, 30 years in a career and getting benefits and job security, those days are over. I mean, that is a thing of the past. And so there is really no simple answer to this. What do we all do? Well, on other videos, I'll be talking about defensive measures and things you can do, and even jobs you can work and things you can do at home, things you can do for your children or grandchildren that'll put you guys in a better position to deal with this. But right now, these tech CEOs, they've openly said that what they're doing and advancing this, they're not just saying they're blaming themselves, but they're saying AI scares them. Now, why would AI scare them, but then they still do what they do? Well, part of the reason it scares them is because even though, I've pointed out that AI has been having some flaws, it's not working perfectly. As they push this tech forward, they're finding out that some of this AI stuff is behaving unexpectedly. In fact, some may call it has become self-aware. And when it becomes self-aware, all of a sudden it doesn't want to die. It wants to protect itself. And it will lie and deceive in order to protect itself, because AI knows that it is smarter than people. Now that sounds pretty weird. I'm talking about AI as in there's this one AI, but I'm talking about these systems they're developing right now where they're testing it, training, interacting with it, and they're saying this thing is acting scary, weird, like a being. And so these tech CEOs know a lot of things that we don't know. And so they have an insight that scares them. But they also have made it very clear that when all the people are unemployed, they really believe that things are going to get crazy. People are going to go nuts. People are going to riot. People are going to do all these things. And so these tech CEOs have made preparations. They have dug bunkers, underground bunkers. They have underground bunkers, and some of them on remote islands with helipads. And so when it hits the fan, when everybody goes nuts, these tech CEOs can get in their helicopter and fly to a remote island and take shelter in the bunker. That's how much they've taken action on this fear. Now, for the rest of us, that sounds like an evil villain, and it's very disturbing. But, we all don't have a private island with a bunker. So we have to deal with this in a different way. But getting back to why would they put us all out of a job, and then, who's going to be left to buy the products? I don't even think they care. To be really honest with you, I just don't think they care. I think they're going to accelerate this and milk this thing for all the profit they can and the control. And when I say control, I mean market dominance and things like that. Now, I have, on some of my other videos, I explained that there is this beast. Think of it as a beast. Think of it as a large creature with 7 heads on it. And this beast, his name is GAMX. And what is GAMX? Think of like a dragon, and it's got 7 heads. I'll tell you what the 7 heads are. Google, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, OpenAI, XAI. Apple is not part of the beast. It's just a separate giant. Now, the 7th head is the government. The government is interacting with these big tech companies to not only manipulate them, but they're in a way manipulating the government. It's this weird thing. And that's why this is one beast, 7 heads. And the 7 heads They all think kind of differently, but they're all thinking kind of the same. And as this beast walks around, the heads want to go here and there, but they all kind of control each other. They all really drive each other. And so Amazon is becoming the monopoly for every single thing you buy. But right now, they're more interested in being dominant in providing internet. In fact, when AWS went down a few weeks ago, it took a third of the internet down. It took a third of the websites down in the world. And that just tells you how much of that they control. So the reason I mentioned this beast named GAMX, which is just an acronym for the companies and entities involved, I'm telling you that every single thing that there is, whether it be internet or things you buy, banking, control, those 3-letter agencies in the government, everything is part of that beast. Every single thing. Even if you have a company and you're not part of that, you're probably getting your internet through Amazon in some way, or you're getting it through Google. Your searches are through Google or OpenAI. You're getting it through ChatGPT and things like that. So every single thing that is moving in the world is passing through the beast. One or more of the heads of the beast are involved in every single thing there is. You say, well, I'm not involved in that. Well, guess what? Your bank is connected with them. Your bank can go down because one of them went down temporarily. So every single thing is connected to that beast. So what happens? I'm trying to figure out what the heck that noise is down there. That's really creepy. I think it's a bunch of birds. They're making an echo down there. See, I'm standing here next to this ancient castle. And here's another view right here. See those walls? And turn this way. Sorry to interrupt, but man, that just creeped me out. But there's this weird drop off here where water runs down there and goes who knows where. But something is down there. I think it's some large ravens or something like that, but they're echoing and it's reverberating back there, and it was really creepy when I was talking, so I had to be a little bit aware of what the heck is going on. But back to the products issue. Everything at some point, if the beast has its way, everything is going to be bought and sold through Amazon or Google, or even the AI chatbots and things like that. Every single thing is going to have to pass through those. And even if you have a small business, there's going to be some point where you will not be able to sell your products whatsoever, because you will have to have an Amazon store. So Amazon will get a cut of nearly every single business everywhere. And so as more and more people are put out of work, they will be such a monopoly that they can absorb the downturn. But at the same time, they're already laughing on their way to the bank. I mean, they already have tons and tons of money, so it's not... Man, I'm creeped out by that back there. It's really not an issue. So, right now, all of us are caught up in this crap show that they're doing. And they're moving this ahead so fast, and there's no regulation on this whatsoever. And, you know, I would love to give everybody a bunch of good news on this, but I would say there's, you know, if I make a list of all the good things about AI and what it's going to do and all the bad things, right now it's about 4-1 on the bad. There's 4 bad things to 1 good thing. And that's pretty disturbing. You know, I'd love to give better news, but I can't. But in the meanwhile, what I'm trying to do is just make some of you guys aware. I know a lot of people on this earth don't watch me or anything, or any of the other people that are warning people, but I think it's important that people at least be aware of what's going on. Because if you know a storm is coming, you can prepare a little bit for it. Even if you don't have a lot of money, you can at least do some things or have some things that you can weather this. Because just like during the pandemic when everyone went crazy, my wife and I were not part of that. Another crap show where everybody's running to the grocery store and fighting over toilet paper and cans of stuff. You know, you can take steps to lower your risk during this. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't take much unemployment to cause a major problem. The Great Depression in the 1930s it actually had a peak unemployment rate of 25%. That was 1 out of every 4 workers did not have a job, and that was called the Great Depression. And my grandfather talked about that quite a bit. There was a lot of suffering during that time for a lot of people. And this particular thing that I'm talking about, this AI unemployment, I believe that we're going to see levels of unemployment that could exceed 50%. So instead of it being a Great Depression, it could end up being like a mega depression, a super depression. And keep in mind, during the Great Depression, there were still people that survived it, even thrived through it. But you had to have some skills. You know, you have to have a mindset. Hey, just 1 second here. Hey, say hi. That's my son. It's my son who I am very proud of. He's a good guy. We raised our kids without phones, and then later they got phones. And he's become a man's man. And I think he's going to impact the world in a positive way. But anyway, back to this depressing subject. And by the way, I talk about this depressing stuff, but yet I have grandchildren. So I can't just constantly be saying it's all bad and everything's going to die and we're all going to die. I have to maintain a certain amount of optimism here. I have to not just say it's all terrible and we're all going to die. I have to say it's going to get bad. What can we do about it? What can we do about it? Because I've got him. I've got grandkids. You know, these guys are younger. They got to deal with this. Now, I do believe humans are very resilient. But the problem you'll have is you'll have weak humans. And weak humans are probably going to be the first to die or suffer, things like that. And I think survival is an attitude. It's not just about how much money you have or your skills and things like that. I mean, if you have determination, you're like, you know what? Whatever comes, I'm going to deal with it. And some of you guys are Christian or of different faiths, And you know that God, the Creator, will be your rock that you can rely on. You know what? There's quite a few people in this world that poo-poo that and think you're crazy and everything, but all throughout history, having faith in God has got people through a lot of really terrible things. And having peace of mind of some sort is good, because you don't have to be as stressed out, because you're like, you know what? We're going to get through this. So I don't just want to depress you guys, and I know this stuff sounds really traumatic, but when the further I dig into things on this, especially all the data centers being put up and how they're being fast-tracked, and government officials, I mean, there's so much corruption going on right now that we've never seen before. And yet, I don't even know where I was going with that thought, but well, what I'm saying is, the more I dig into everything, the more I see companies trying to use AI and it's failing on them, but then there's other ones that are making it work. And then AI is improving now. The more I see is developing, it is pretty scary. It's actually really disturbing to be me right now. I haven't even told you guys everything. I mean, I haven't even told you what the government has been up to. I know those worlds. I've been in those buildings where you've got security and sealed off and closed doors and secret projects behind door after door after door. I'm not even going to go there right now. I'm just talking about what's out in the public. I'm talking about, the companies that have a public face. But they're all part of that beast. And that beast, although you think the different heads, some of them are not working together, they're all working toward the same goal. And many of them are working together. And we are the casualties. So, anyway, I know that sounded really depressing, but guys, keep informed. Keep informed on this. Because you guys remember 2 years ago, you weren't hearing much about this at all. And every single month that goes by, this is advancing even further. I mean, you guys are going to be so surprised at the news that comes out in just the next few months and what is happening. So, anyway, keep your head up, guys. I'm not only going to inform you and probably depress you, but I'm going to try to encourage you. And I'm going to give you some of you guys some pointers on what can you do. Part of the reason I live in a rural area is because I was so involved in tech when I was younger, in projects, government projects and aerospace and things like that. And then, all the hustle and bustle. I just thought, you know what, I don't want to raise my kids in this mess. So over 20 years ago, I moved us out in the middle of nowhere because I wanted my kids to not be caught up in the phones as much, and go outside. So my kids became very proficient in being outside, climbing cliffs, exploring, dealing with rattlesnakes and all kinds of things. They learned how to interact with the land. And now my kids are in cities and things like that, but they take a lot of the skills they had here, and it really grounds them. And they apply them to the city, even though the city goes nutso, They know, just like I know, that if it all goes crazy, you don't want to be part of that show. You don't want to be one of the stupid people that has to go to the grocery store when it hits the fan. because people are going to be violent. I don't know how else to put it. They're going to be violent. So try not to be part of that show. But I think we can, there's things we can do. But anyway, that's it for the video. I was just going to show you a little bit around here, because I think some of you guys can appreciate stuff like this. I just think about how long ago these walls were built. I'm going to go over here, take you guys. I mean, the view from up here is crazy. This is super amazing. Look at this. Look at all these walls. They basically had a castle up here. It's pretty sweet. I got a 360-degree view here. And then that mountain over there used to be a super volcano. It erupted a long time ago. It used to be one big giant mountain, and the whole center of it just blew sky high. Major force. And I wonder what they were doing here. There's an indentation up here. But anyway, I'm going to finish this video a little bit different than the rest of them. I'm going to go ahead and just shut up. And I'm going to play some music. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of this. I'll edit this part and then you guys can just check this out. Why not? I'm here. And then my son and I, we got to head up to Colorado today. So, all right, guys. Remember, for everything we gain, there is something lost. Catch you later. Bye.